Hi, it's KW Pogromca, and today we are gonna talk about jumping in specific places on the map, utilizing our passive in a useful way, in a way that many people don't really expect we can use it. So, at the very beginning, we are gonna start with some basics, and later on, we are gonna discuss some lesser known facts about jumping and how you can make use of it. Alright, so let's start on how Rengar's passive works, right? So Rengar has his ferocity. When he has 4 ferocity, his ability is empowered, and you can jump if you are in any kind of bush, right? So if I put an enemy there, I'm in the bush, I can jump on him. When I'm not in the bush, I just move to him because Rengar is generally a melee champion. So that is basically how it works in very general way, and I think everyone who has played Rengar at least once knows exactly how this mechanic works. So Rengar's passive, the jump from his passive, has the bigger range the more movement speed you've got. So let's just look at that example. I don't have enough power, I have enough power. Okay. So let's now look how far Rengar can actually jump. You see that? I would never jump so far without those items. I guess maybe I can jump even further. You see that? If not the ward, I can barely see that enemy. It's basically twice the distance I can normally jump. First thing I want to talk about is using minions to actually get closer to your enemy. When you are playing Rengar top lane, you can make really good use of minions so that you can end enemy's life when he is not really expecting that. For example, look, I'm here, my enemy is here. If I go there, he is just going to back off, right? Because he is not that stupid. But I can get my ferocity stacked, right? Now I can do something like that. He really doesn't expect that, and if he is already a little bit poked by earlier traits, you can really easily take him down by doing that. But if I do flash E, how does it look? And when I do E-flash, it's basically an animation cancel of your E, so that you can just do that faster, right? You want to use those minions just to get closer, and in the end you just flash, right? Like that. Important thing is to note that Ebola is not going to fly at your target exactly. I mean, it's not gonna fly exactly at your cursor. It's gonna fly in the specific direction in which you point your cursor in relation to where your champion is. So, for example, look, if I have dummies there, and I use my E, I jump on this target, I use my E in this direction, but I flash here, my Ebola is not going to fly in a little bit different direction. It's gonna fly in same direction, but from a different start point. So, look, I need to put my cursor a little bit further into right side if I want to hit that target, because if I put my cursor there, the Ebola is going to hit the target right here. So dependent on the thing you want to achieve by doing that jump into flash, you must position your cursor in a specific way, right? Another important thing to note on the top lane is that you can generally use minions to, let's see, drag them here, put that dummy there so they focus it, so they are close to the bush. Sometimes you can drag the wave near to the bush, your enemy is here for example, and if those minions are near to the bush, you can do something like that. They have moved. Let's pretend that is a minion, right? So you can do something like that. You jump on it, then you enter the bush, and then you use your Q so that your auto attack animation is reset, so you immediately jump on the target. So it looks basically like that, right? So thanks to this, I have basically like jumped over half of the lane on the enemy that is not really expecting that if he doesn't know about that trick. So it's kind of good to take minions, right? Take the aggro, drag them near the bushes so they fight here. So right now I can basically do something like that. So I jump from this bush right there. Of course, it's, well, actually in this case you can do just, and it basically goes the same way, but it's really good to know that you can basically make double jumps if you drag the minions near the bush. Another important thing on top lane, it's, I mean, maybe it's not all about top lane, it's more about jungling as Rengar, but when you are ganking top lane, is that you can jump on the enemy, well, maybe not that far away, you can jump on the enemy that is hugging this wall. So, for example, you are going to the top lane, your enemy is there, he sees you on the board, so he tries to run, he is hugging the wall, so you can basically just kill that target and jump on that target and get him down. Same thing applies to bot lane, right? Right there, it is too far, or maybe there. You can jump there as well. Of course, you need to have vision on them, so either you can just use your ward like that before you jump, or you need to have vision from some other source. So now to diving mid lane. If you are trying to dive mid lane and enemy is near this wall, you can actually jump on him. If he is just next to the wall, you can straight up go to the bush, right click on the enemy, and that's it. If he is a little bit further away, that's not gonna work. What you can do is go to the bush, jump, press your right click on this ball, and then right after you leave the bush, you click right click on the target so that you can jump on it. So it goes there and you jump on enemy. It's because Rengar can jump out of the bush a little bit after he has left the bush, and if you just right click, Rengar is going to take the path as if he wants to just run on the enemy, so he is not going to go so close to the wall. I think if I stay so close to the wall, maybe, yeah. You can just, if you are afraid you can't click so fast, you can just stand very close to the wall. Oh. Wait, what? Okay. You can just stay very close to the wall and then just right click on enemy, but it is gonna be like a little bit slower because you stop, then you click. If you learn to click fast, you can just go from the get-go, right? You don't have to stop even for a moment. So, you know how to dive mid. Of course, it works on this side of the map as well. Another important thing is that you can actually, if you have, for example, a ward there from your jungler or yourself, you have a blast cone here, and one, you are either afraid that enemy jungler is going to use that blast cone against you, or you are waiting here for enemy to come and you want to maintain your ferocity because you, for example, oh, look, I have 8 stacks, right? 4 stacks, but my passive is ending. I can just jump in the very last moment so that I get another 8 seconds of my ferocity, so that if enemy comes, I can just jump on him with my ferocity and kill him. Same applies to bot lane, right? If you have vision, you can just jump on the cone. It's not going to help you escape because you are going to get back to the position where you started, basically, but it can just, you can just faster destroy that blast cone than if you would run around, or you can just maintain that ferocity what I have spoken about in the top lane. There is also one thing you can use that for. It's because flash basically stops your auto attack, so you can jump on the blast cone and right before you detonate it, you flash on the other side, then auto attack it, and you are going to be here, right? Something like that. I've got flash, right? I use blast cone and I try to flash immediately. So I flash after I land. But if I have my ferocity, I can use my W to get me out of knock-up so that I can flash. So now let's say you are trying to run, your enemy is right when you are, so you can do something like that. So they go over the wall, but you stay on your side of the wall, and that is basically what you can do if you want to surprise your enemy. But if you don't think enemy is going to have fast enough reaction time, you can just do something like that. Right? So you both actually go in the opposite directions. You don't really have to use that W, but for example, if it's enemy that detonates the cone, not you, so that you don't have control over when that cone is detonated, you can actually use that. It of course works on all the cones in the game. Oh. Like that. And that can save your life sometimes. So, in the jungle, when you are starting your clear, and you are starting on red side, you want to wait until there is exactly 7 seconds to your red buff spawn. You can see that when you press tab. 8, 7. Then you use your Q and jump on the cone so that you get 2 ferocity, and you can do that red buff faster because you have already more stacks of your ferocity, right? Same applies to your blue buff, but it's a little bit more tricky to do because there you must earlier, around 10 seconds to your blue buff spawn, do that. You stop it with your S key, then when there are 7 seconds to the blue buff spawn, you use your Q, and you can start blue buff with 2 ferocity as well. Next thing I want to talk about is jumping on objective, Baron or Drake from the bush when you want to steal it but you don't have your ultimate. Remember, it's easier when you have more movement speed, so if you have Yomu's Ghost Blade, it's gonna be easier. If you have your ferocity stacked so that you get movement speed from passive, it's gonna be easier. And generally with lethality build, it's gonna be easier because you have more movement speed with that. Um, of course you can do that with full crit build, but it's just gonna be way harder. As you can see on that slow motion, you must click on the near the wall, but on your side of the wall, and then try to attack the Baron when you still have your passive. Alright, so those are the jumps that I really think are the most useful. Those are the jumps that I can actually think of right now. One last thing to note is that when you are playing in the mid game and your team is basically on the middle of the lane, it's kind of good to have a ward there. So if an enemy is trying to flank right there, for example if enemy has some squishy champions, you can just jump and eliminate them very easily and basically for free. So I hope it was helpful, I hope it was useful, and I hope it was fun to watch. If you want some more Rengar content, then subscribe to the channel, leave a like, leave a comment, and see you next time.